Oh, would you look at that. It's horrors beyond human comprehension. This thing would not be out of place rolling around at your local Walmart. Imagine living your whole life and ending up at some chick's balls. Hello everyone and welcome to Happybara. I'm your animal bro and internet weirdo, and today we're diving to the bottom of the ocean to check out the top 8 deep sea animals that upset me personally. To quote Cormac McCarthy's family-friendly classic, Blood Meridian, "That which exists without my knowledge exists without my consent." And dear viewer, there are a lot of things on this earth that exist without my consent. But let's not let that distract us from the horrifying reality that the ocean is filled with alien monsters that we know nothing about. Now, some may chalk this up to the extreme conditions at the bottom of the ocean and the incredible cost of ocean exploration. But come on, I think we all know the real reason. Scientists took one look at this thing and said, no, we're gonna go ahead and try Mars, thank you. So what qualifies as a deep sea animal? Well, to be on this list, you have to live at least 200 meters below the surface of the ocean, around the point where light just begins to give up. So basically, you're allowed to live anywhere except the epipelagic zone. So yeah, while it might be kind of upsetting for a great white shark to bite off my legs, Big Brucey is not gonna show up on this list. But for those of you who are afraid that I'm not gonna talk about any sharks this video, don't be! We live in a cruel world where the sharks get worse. Number 8, the Frilled Shark. Yeah, you know you're in for a wild ride when the least upsetting thing on this list looks like Elmo's rotting corpse. The frilled shark can be found at depths of up to 1,500 meters below the surface of the sea, and can grow to the length of a full-grown man. But thank God these things are not threatening towards humans. But if you're a bony fish, cephalopod, or smaller shark, this thing is your worst nightmare, for reasons that will become very apparent. Now, if you've seen Shin Godzilla, your alarm bells are already ringing, because this thing looks like it's about to start shooting lasers at any second. But just because it looks like a mutant doesn't mean that it is one. In fact, this is the default and every other shark is the freak. Let me explain. The frilled shark is often considered a living fossil because it possesses a lot of adaptations that are more similar to sharks that were alive during the time of the dinosaurs than anything alive today. So while great whites and tiger sharks are rage baiting each other on TikTok, the frilled shark just figured out how to add music to its MySpace page. And in my opinion, it's happier for it. These primitive adaptations include a jaw that articulates towards the back of the cranium, a long eel-like body, pelvic, dorsal, and anal fins that are closer to the end of the tail, and its worst trait, a mouthful of over 300 trident-shaped teeth that it uses with a flexible jaw to swallow prey larger than itself. Yeah, that little thing, that's gonna be a recurring theme throughout this video. When people think of evolution, they think of the phrase, survival of the fittest, when in reality, evolution is a devoted follower of the great Todd Howard. It just works. And being the shark equivalent of a flip phone has worked out pretty well for the frilled shark. The deep sea environment favors an eel-like body plan, and when your prey has a lot of wriggly bits to grab onto, those trident teeth come in handy. And when you are a deep sea predator, you are not guaranteed to find food every week, or even every month. So you can't always afford yourself the luxury of hoping that what you find is smaller than yourself. So that flexible jaw is a literal lifesaver. There's just not a lot of pressures in the deep sea environments that would push the frilled shark to change what it's doing. Basically, the frilled shark followed the advice that my dad always gave me. Keep it simple, stupid. It just added on its cute little addendum of needing an exorcism. Number 7, the Giant Isopod.
Oh, the Happybara guy's afraid of a little pill bug. Wow, why don't you go back to Weenie Hut Jr.?
Listen, pal, there's a lot of ways that something can upset someone. The things on this list are gonna fall into one of two categories. The things that live at the bottom of the ocean because they are genuinely eldritch nightmares, or the ones that live at the bottom of the ocean because they are genuine mistakes. Like the Giant Isopod. Isopods are supposed to be cute little guys you find in your grandma's tomato garden, but this thing is a roly-poly that decided it existed to spite God, so it blew itself up to the size of a basketball before renting a U-Haul to move itself 500 meters below the surface of the ocean. Why? LOL! Lamau even! Giant isopods are textbook examples of something called deep-sea gigantism. To put it in dumb monkey terms, ape dive small time, bug small. Ape dive long time, bug big. ape pants when see big bug. Deep sea gigantism doesn't just apply to giant isopods either. Crabs, fish, stingrays, and a particularly horrifying group of animals we'll cover later all exhibit deep sea gigantism. But why do animals get larger the deeper you go down? Has all my time lifting weights been for nothing because the only real way to put on mass is to live at the bottom of the ocean? Be right back, I'm gonna go do some science. I lasted 5 minutes before the dolphins started getting humpy. Okay, so it turns out there are actually a few valid reasons for why deep sea gigantism is a thing, like temperature regulation, since a bigger body means you produce more heat, and there's not a lot of heat going around in the deep ocean. Food scarcity and protection from predation are two other valid explanations, because when you're bigger, it's easier to eat other things, and it's harder for other things to eat you. But despite its size and diet consisting entirely of corpses, the giant isopod is pretty harmless. But that doesn't mean I would trust it. If one of these things rolled up and got thrown at the back of your head, you would definitely have a new dent in your brain. Number 6. The Goblin Shark. Surprise! The sharks got worse! Goblin sharks are large predatory sharks that can reach lengths of up to 13 feet long, but some individuals can reach sizes that not even a great white would scoff at. Everyone knows these guys for their pasty pink color, their dental nightmare that they call jaws, and their goofy goblin nose. Now, I know for a fact you've seen pictures of these guys, and if you haven't, hi, welcome to hell, I'm Dr. Happy, how you doing? Taking one look at this thing, it's pretty obvious why it ended up on this list. I mean, this thing would not be out of place rolling around at your local Walmart, let's just put it that way. Say one thing about Happybara, but we give everyone a fair shot here. And the Goblin Shark's been the victim of a misinformation campaign that I've taken the liberty of naming YITFOOB, which stands for You Exploded the Fish Bro. When you're adapted to living in pressures 130 times Earth's atmosphere, your body has to do some quirky stuff to keep you alive. But when you're suddenly yanked out of that environment, your body starts doing some quirky stuff that does not keep you alive. Example, this is what the internet has taught you a blobfish is supposed to look like. But this is what they actually look like when they're allowed to exist at a depth that they were designed to live at. Yeah, having my swim bladder rupture and my cells literally liquefy would give me depression too. But because goblin sharks are cartilaginous fish and lack a swim bladder, they actually don't have it as bad as the blobfish. But that doesn't mean that humans don't have a thing for yanking them out of the water anyway. You fools! YITFIB doesn't only describe deep sea animals' tendency to explode, it also describes our tendency to describe animals using only their deformed corpses. When alive, the goblin shark actually looks something like this. Yeah, I mean, it's still got the pink and pasty color and the goofy goblin nose, but I think we can all agree it's not nearly as horrific. So why does it show up on this list? I mean, I'm pink and pasty and I got a forehead like Dr. Cortex, but I'm not gonna show up on anyone's top 8 most upsetting animals lists. Yet. Don't worry, just because the goblin shark doesn't look like the nightmare fuel you thought it was, doesn't mean it isn't. You see, goblin sharks have discovered a solution to the age-old question that every predator wants the answer to. I want to eat that thing, but that thing is over there, but I am over here. What do I do? Now, if you were a loser or a communist, you'd say, well, I'll just move over to the thing I want to eat. Now, if you were based in goblin shark pilled, you might say, nope, I'm moving my mouth to you. Bam! So not only does this thing look like Willem Dafoe, but it's also got a Five Nights at Freddy's jump scare built into its fucking face. Number 5. The Barreleye. You know that one scene in SpongeBob where Patrick's all pissed off about not being able to see his own forehead? That's this fish. He was so upset that he decided that if he can't see his forehead, then no one can. The Barreleye is an incredibly rare fish that lives in the twilight zone, up to 800 meters below the surface of the ocean, where it spends all its time eating zooplankton and looking incredibly depressed. I mean, you gotta admit, it's kinda cute. I mean, look at those sad little eyes. Are those not the eyes? Wait, so where are the... Oh my god. That's right, those wizard orbs inside of its forehead, those are its eyes, and the entire reason why the Barreleye finds its way onto this list. Evolution has a tendency to specialize. See, there are a lot of animals that have existed on this planet that exist to do one thing really good. For example, Cheetahs have really long legs and semi-retractable claws to make them really good at sprinting. Tyrannosaurus rex had tiny arms to offset the giant jaw muscles and colossal head it needed to deliver the strongest bite of any terrestrial animal. And giraffes have long muscular necks with prehensile tongues and viscous saliva, so they can eat the tall thorny plants that no other animals can. So let me ask, what is the barrel eyes thing? Ready? Looking up. That's right, Barreleyes went through the whole process of developing transparent foreheads, moving their eyes inside of their heads, and orienting them upwards just so they can look up at the sky without straining themselves. Mind you, this took millions of years to do. Granted, I can't really blame them because when you live 800 meters below the surface of the ocean, most of everything that's interesting is going to be that way. But that's giving it the benefit of the doubt and assuming that it works for its food. Most of this thing's diet comes from things called siphonophores. The siphonophore goes through all the effort of capturing prey, only for the barreleye to come up from below and just yoink without even a thank you. You wanna know the worst thing about this fucking fish? It's not even subscribed to Happybara, and it has never once hit the like button to help with the growth of the channel. You don't wanna be like a barreleye, do ya? Oh, speaking of siphonophores. Number 4, the Giant Siphonophore, aka Praya Dubia. I've been saying for years, this is what happens when you leave your Christmas lights up past February. They jump in the ocean and they choose violence. Okay, so turns out giant siphonophores are not actually the ghosts of Christmas past. Instead, they're the eldritch manifestation of the power of friendship. You know how corporations like to pitch the whole, we're not co-workers, we're a family bullshit? Well, that's Praya Dubia in a nutshell, except while you can't live with your coworkers, Praya Dubia can't live without them. When you're looking at a giant siphonophore, you're not looking at just one animal. You're looking at an entire colony of symbiotic animals called zooids, which each have independently evolved to perform a function within the siphonophore. Imagine if your skin and fingernails just stuck on you because they felt like it, and not because they're, a part of you. Thanks, I hate it. These factories of bioluminescent body horror can reach lengths of up to 150 feet long. That is 40 feet longer than the largest blue whale. Yet somehow they maintain a body thickness of only about the width of a broomstick. Now I'm guessing this is the part where I'm supposed to share how these things are gentle giants and are just misunderstood. Nope, these things will f*** you up. The giant siphonophore is related to another colonial organism called the Portuguese man-o'-war. And if you don't know what the Portuguese man-o'-war has in store for you, I can promise you it's nothing good, because it's called the Portuguese man-o'-war. Stings from the man-o'-war's tentacles can result in fever, swelling of the larynx, circulatory shock, and in extreme cases, death. While stings from the giant siphonophore aren't nearly as bad as those from the man-o'-war, it makes up for quality with quantity. Cause you gotta remember that all 150 feet of this living garden hose are covered in stinging cells waiting to give you the worst Christmas present of your life. Hope all you little boys and girls have been good this year because Santa's throwing all the naughty ones in the siphonophore. Number 3, the black swallower. Oh, would you look at that? They let DeviantArt make a fish. The black swallower is a tiny little fish that can be found at depths between 700 and 2,700 meters below the surface. And surprisingly, having a name that sounds like a category you'd find on the hub is not the worst thing about this fish. You see, the black swallower does exactly what's written on the tin. It swallows. Real good. But Happy, lots of things in the ocean swallow real good. Why are you picking on this little guy? Well, that's a fair question. I mean, the pelican eel is basically a mouth with a tail and a dream, and me and him are homies. So why is the black swallower coming in at number 3? Well, 1, the name, and 2, it's not just that it swallows, it's how it swallows. This little 7.5-inch long fish starts at the prey's tail, before walking its jaws forward, coiling up the fish inside of itself like it were a living roll of Hubba Bubba bubble tape. Black swallowers can do this with animals 10 times their size. Sometimes black swallowers swallow animals so big that they cannot digest fast enough to beat decomposition setting in, and the gases build up in its gut, which then shoot the fish towards the surface and its own horrifying death via decompression. This is a vorefish that recreates uzumaki in its guts every time it eats, and does so in a way so inefficient that it's possible for your death to mean nothing, because the predator that ate you to stay alive ended up dying anyway.
Robert,
Yeah.
it's pissing me off.
Number 2. Deep sea anglerfish. Anglerfish. Everyone knows about these guys, the group of fish known for their bioluminescent lures and winning smiles. Okay, so I am kinda cheating here because this spot is occupied by the entire suborder of Ceratioideae, which is a pretty diverse suborder, ranging in size between 4 feet long and only 1/4 of an inch. Now I know what you're thinking, Happy, what the hell? How can a fish barely bigger than a pencil eraser be in the same spot as a fish the size of a large dog? You see, anglerfish exhibit something called sexual dimorphism, which is the condition where males and females of a species might look vastly different from each other despite still being the same species. Examples include the male peacock's tail feathers, male lions having manes, and human males starting to paint Warhammer and females starting to run away. In the suborder Ceratioideae, sexual dimorphism is taken to an extreme. Females can be up to 60 times longer than the males, and up to 500,000 times heavier. Holy sh**. If you were one of the people simping over the Amazonian Dami-Mami vampire from Resident Evil 8, then I got the fish for you. The only difference is that if we gave Lady Dimitrescu anglerfish proportions, she would be the length of a football field. Smash. Now, if you're a rationally curious individual, I already know the question floating around in your brain. And it's okay because we're all adults here and we all have the same question. So to make it easy on all of us, I'm gonna go ahead and count to 3, and on 3, we're all gonna ask it at the same time. You ready? 1, 2, 3. How do they So we now find the reason for why deep sea anglerfish occupy the number 2 spot on this list. In addition to being sexually dimorphic, some anglerfish exhibit something called sexual parasitism, which is just as horrific as it sounds. As a male anglerfish, your only objective is to find a female. You don't even get a digestive system most of the time. But despite being nature's biggest simp, the male does serve a purpose beyond just subscribing to the female's OnlyFins. You like that one? Yeah, you like that joke? Yeah. Welcome to Happybara. Once the male finds Big Mama, he lovingly places his rostrum against her underside, before lovingly biting the shit out of her. And just like me, he then refuses to let go out of fear that she'll leave him for being too clingy. As time passes, the male's head begins to fuse with the body of the female, until eventually they share a circulatory system, and the male is reduced to being nothing but a permanent sperm-producing organ for the female to use whenever she feels like it's time for the baby making to start. Imagine living your whole life and ending up as some chick's balls. Number 1. Literally every deep-sea squid. Now, is putting every squid that lives below a depth of 200 meters at number 1 a cop-out? Yes. And yeah, I admit I have a tendency to be a bit over-dramatic. In the last video, someone said that I look like Captain America if you ordered him off of Temu, and I cried for 7 hours because that was the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. But all that considered, I cannot think of a group of animals that deserve the number 1 spot more than the squid. Cephalopods are already aliens. I mean, if they don't mince up their food well enough, they will give themselves brain damage because their brains are looped around their esophagus like a donut. To qualify for this video, you had to be one of 3 things. You had to be a threat, an H.P. Lovecraft nightmare, or a derpy little And no matter what category you choose, there's a squid for that. Y'all are eating good today, because I'm gonna give you a list of my most notable squids inside of my list of most upsetting deep-sea animals. You ready for some list inception? Some listception? Some squidception?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
The Dana octopus squid. It's a 7-foot squid that got halfway into evolving into a manta ray and then gave up. It's only got 8 dinky little tentacles, but each of those tentacles are lined with suction cups with barbed hooks on the inside, making the Dana octopus squid a contender for the ocean's least enjoyable hug. But the most notable thing about the Dana octopus squid is that at the end of its 2 longest tentacles are 2 light-producing organs called photophores, which are covered by 2 disgusting eyelid-like skin flaps. Why does the Dana octopus squid have 2 light bulbs that can blink? Not only is the Dana octopus squid halfway to being a manta ray, it's halfway to being a flashbang. Dana octopus squid likes to hunt by first pulling up to potential prey, then rapidly blinking its light orbs at it to both blind and disorient the poor creature that didn't sign up to be in a COD lobby that afternoon. Behold, the squid that weaponized epilepsy. The vampire squid. The vampire squid's scientific name is literally Vampiroteuthis infernalis, which translates to the vampire squid from hell, and has earned it the honor of being the most metal thing I have ever heard. Now, despite the vampire squid talking a big game, it's actually pretty tiny, only barely reaching a foot long. And to my immense disappointment, it does not drink blood. Instead, it feeds on floating organic particles called marine snow, also lovingly referred to as ocean dandruff. Okay, so the vampire squid from hell is actually a living napkin with cute little bunny ears that eats dandruff. So why the hell is it? Oh, yeah, there it is. That'll do it. The big fin squid, aka Magnapina. Oh, would you look at that? It's horrors beyond human comprehension. If fear of the unknown is your flavor of horror, then I got the squid for you, cause we don't know shit about this thing. According to the NOAA, we've only seen Magnapina 20 times. Like, ever. That's because the Magnapina is the deepest living squid species we know of. It can be found at 6,200 meters below the surface of the ocean, and is the only squid to inhabit the Hadal Zone. Most of what we know about this thing is just speculation. We have no idea what it uses those 20-foot long spaghetti tentacles for, or why God thought it would be funny to give a squid elbows. Our best guess is that the elbows are so the squid doesn't get tangled up in itself, and that it uses those tentacles to troll along the ocean floor looking for edible organisms. Now, what constitutes an edible organism? Crabs! Maybe. We don't know. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that it eats children because it's got the whole Slender Man thing going on, and with everything going on in the world, I would not be surprised if the government revealed to us that creepypastas were real. The giant and colossal squid. The giant squid, bigger than the average squid. The colossal squid, bigger than the giant squid. While these are 2 very different animals, they're being featured in the same spot on this list because they're here for a similar reason. It is absolute bullshit that squids are allowed to get heavy as bison and as long as school buses. The giant squid holds the record of being the longest invertebrate on Earth, reaching lengths of up to 43 feet long. But the colossal squid takes the title of largest invertebrate on Earth by sheer mass, getting up to 1,500 pounds. This duo takes the whole deep-sea gigantism thing to a level that makes the giant isopod look like the regular isopod. So allegedly, deep-sea gigantism is an effective way at avoiding predators. So because these 2 are so caked up, they must be sinking ships and eating pirates as much as they want because there's nothing to stop them, right? Nope. See, dear viewer, we mammals are a class of animal that exists only despite every other kind of animal. So of course we had to send our own representative down there just in case the cephalopods started thinking they were safe. Meet our cousin, the sperm whale, aka the #1 calamari-eating champion of the planet. You've probably seen plenty of depictions of epic fights to the death between giant-toothed whales and enormous monster squids. But the reality is these battles are about as much of a battle as you eating a Hot Pocket. But every once in a while, a Hot Pocket will burn the shit out of your mouth, and these squids are far from defenseless. Giant squids are armed with hundreds of suction cups, each lined with rings of serrated chitin, which can leave circular scars on even the toughest whale skin. Which sounds pretty gnarly, until you look at the colossal squid, which has rows upon rows of rotating meat hooks. But despite all the pointy bits, sperm whales still murk millions of squid every year. But we can thank Moby Dick's appetite for squid murder for how we even know about these things in the first place. Despite their size, these giants are incredibly elusive. I mean, hell, it was only recently that we even got footage of full-grown adults in the wild. But for the longest time, all we had to go off of was washed up carcasses, and bits and pieces drug from the depths of sperm whale stomachs. And when whalers found beaks the size of a human fist and eyes the size of dinner plates inside of their prey's stomach, they knew Monstro was chowing down on some monsters. The Humboldt squid.
Happy, your squid is basic. How the hell does this thing compare to the real-life Kraken?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did the 40-foot squid make the squid that can barely fit in the bed of a pickup truck seem less impressive? Well, wipe that smugness off your face, bud, because this is the only squid that's actively gunning for a body count. Humboldt squid are also known as red devils, which is not a name you give to something that does nice things to people. The reason for their nickname is their tendency to flash bright red when they feel threatened or want to do some threatening. Yet another example in a long line of examples of nature throwing up a glowing sign that reads, "F*** off." Not only does the Humboldt squid have the same barbed suckers and razor beak as the giant squid, but it's got the attitude to go with it. While attacks on humans are admittedly rare and there has never been a confirmed fatality, Humboldt squid have been known to throw hands. Well, razor tentacles, not hands. This squid is freaky, but it's like not that freaky. There have been multiple reports of divers emerging from the water with lacerations, dislocated joints, and even broken bones from run-ins with Humboldt squid. So much so that divers have started wearing chainmail in waters that Humboldt squid inhabit. Now, if it were just one squid, that'd be fine, we'd be able to deal with it, blah blah blah. But the reality is that Humboldt squid participate in gang warfare on a scale that makes Chicago look like Vermont. Humboldt squid move in shoals of up to 1,200 individuals. Let me say that again. At any given time, you could be swimming in the deep sea and find yourself surrounded by a cloud of squid, each the size of a small refrigerator. And when these shoals get the munchies, not even their own kind is safe. A full quarter of every Humboldt squid ever dissected has been found with the remains of other Humboldt squid in its stomach. Life in a Humboldt squid shoal is a lot like life as an elementary school teacher. The second you show any weakness, your life is forfeit. The fact that they're so willing to go full cannibal so quickly is one of the reasons why we think they grow so large so fast. Once a Humboldt squid sees an opportunity for an easy meal, it hugs first and only asks questions once the food has slid past their donut brain. In fact, most attacks on humans happen while these shoals are feeding, leading some scientists to believe that Humboldt squids are actually not that aggressive. And much like the shark attacks that we're so familiar with, they're often cases of mistaken identity, which I'm sure will be a real comfort when Squidward decides it's time for you to find out and rips your arm off.
Yoink.
So there we have it, the top 8 deep sea animals that upset ya boy personally. Now, all jokes aside, let's take a moment to appreciate the fact that while we view them as horrifying and weird, in their minds, we are the horrifying aliens. Except, we actually are horrifying. Yeah, the Humboldt squid might cut you for talking smack, but we humans eat hundreds of thousands of tons of squid meat every year. And also all the plastic pollution and oil spills and global warming and all the other tomfoolery we like to get up to. So yeah, making this video is definitely me throwing rocks from inside my glass submarine. In fact, to make up for being such a pompous jerk, I'm gonna go ahead and Oh, I dropped all those links to some noteworthy marine conservation organizations down in the description. Oh, it'd be so terrible if someone were to go down there and click the links and maybe donate to help these organizations make the world a safer and cleaner place for marine wildlife. Oh, no. And on that note, I think that's a good place to wrap up. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and comment down below what animal topic you want me to cover next. And if you feel like helping me make more videos like this one, we got a Patreon for you to look at. It has exclusive benefits like early access to videos and exclusive stickers, like this Endangered Species Fight Club. Oh yeah, it's me getting punched in the face, all right! This has been Happybara, and until next time, take a page from the book of deep sea wisdom. Be true to yourself, especially if you're a freak. See you next time.